Just found out my girlfriend is a little and I'm not sure what to do. My 25 male girlfriend, 24 female, is smart, funny, extremely easy to live with, and I could very easily see myself marrying her one day. But recently something happened that is really throwing me through a loop. Just as backstory, she moved into my apartment about 3 months ago and I'm crazy about her. I've never met any female I've connected with as well as her, and in my opinion she is leaps and bounds out of my league. For as long as I've known her, about 8 months, she's always been very feminine, which I love, but she enjoys a lot of stuff that's inherently very childish. For example, she loves watching cartoons intended for younger children, i.e. Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, Phineas and Ferb, Disney movies, and a couple different animes. Not that I have a problem with this. I don't care what she watches, and I actually kinda like Adventure Time and a couple of the animes she likes. She has multiple stuffed animals she likes to have on our bed, something I find kind of strange for adults but don't really care about, and she occasionally dresses in fairly childlike clothes when at home, shirts with Disney characters, childish rompers, and sometimes footsie pajamas to bed. I normally wouldn't care about any of this, but a couple weeks ago I went into work on a Saturday, which happens a decent amount in my trade, and after driving to the job site we found out the materials that were delivered that morning was the wrong order and our foreman ended up sending us home early. I got back at around 10:30 a.m. and found my girlfriend asleep in footsie pajamas with a pacifier that a baby would wear in her mouth. I was really confused and wasn't really sure what to do, so I ended up waking her up and asking her what was going on. She was mortified and clearly didn't want to talk about it, so I dropped the issue. I was still really confused and decided to just go run some errands and ask her about it later. I got home at like 2-ish and asked her about it again, and she ended up telling me she was a little, which is apparently when adults enjoy to act like young children. She was telling me about it, like how it was just innately comforting to her, but the whole thing just seemed weird to me, which she must have sensed, and she eventually started crying. I immediately comforted her because I could tell she was extremely embarrassed and I didn't want to press the issue, and I ended up basically implying to her that I was fine with it. Since then she's wore the pacifier a couple different nights when we've gone to bed, but besides that she's been exactly the same as usual. I did some research and found way more about this whole thing than I expected, and I'm not really sure what to think. Apparently it's more common than I would have thought, but the whole thing seems weird to me. Especially now that everything she does, from childish shows, clothing, everything I've mentioned above, makes me think of her as a child instead of my GF. I've had no problem cuddling with her in the past, in fact it was the opposite of a problem to me. But now there's a part of me that feels like a creep every time we snuggle or make love, and I'm not sure what to do about it. She is certainly visibly happier with me knowing this side of her, and I would bend over backwards for her, but I'm just really conflicted about this whole thing. Any help is appreciated. I, and many I was friends with, were littles, all had terrible pasts, very traumatic childhoods that caused us to grow up much faster than we needed to. Doing the whole little thing helped us cope. It was age regression. It made us feel better, like we were making up for lost time. I grew out of it, although I'll still get plushies or I'll still watch cartoons, but that's just because it's comforting, and I also have a kid now, so cartoons are on a lot. Maybe your partner went through something bad that caused issues with her childhood. I haven't met a little who didn't have childhood trauma. So do be careful with this subject. If she did suffer at a young age, it'll probably still be a sore subject, as it's obvious she was trying to hide it from you. To me this sounds like age regression, and she may have had a rough childhood and require therapy. I'm not trying to be presumptuous. I've done group therapy and met people who call themselves littles. In my opinion it sounds like your girlfriend has some bad memories she might have to let out. While I am concerned for her, this worries me for you. PLS take care of yourself first op. If you don't have your health you don't have anything. This is actually not an uncommon thing. The people who do that revered back to a simpler time in their life. It gives them great comfort. Probably something traumatic happened. You could watch a docu about people who do that, to get a better understanding of what's going on. And then you should talk to your girlfriend and make plans how to deal with this. Maybe couples counseling? I'd have a conversation with her about what this means for her and what she gets from it. I know the little thing can be a sexual kink, but it may not be sexual in nature for her. And maybe if that's the case you'll still be able to view her as a woman who has preferences for certain childish things, and not as a child. And you need to let her know your feelings, too. That this is something new for you, and you're having a hard time reconciling what it means. The suggestion for couples counseling was good. That definitely will never hurt to clarify what both of you want and need from the relationship. Seems like lots of people have spoken to you about the trauma aspects for your girlfriend, but you do also get to choose if this is something you're comfortable with. Maybe you and her need to talk and set some boundaries so you don't feel like a creep. Maybe you are happier only doing platonic things like hugging on the sofa when she is in her onesie and would only like to go further when she is dressed in grown-up clothes. You also get to consent to at what level you engage with her when she is presenting as a child. The pajamas and pachi is what did me in. Up until then I was like, so what? Adventure Time, regular show and flapjack slander will not be tolerated, sir. Sincerely, a grown man. I was definitely not expecting the comments to be this understanding. I do agree though that your GF's habit doesn't seem to be a sex kink thing and more of a coping mechanism. Try to see if she would be comfortable talking more about it. I, 31M, caught fiance, 31 female, in a lie. I caught my fiance in a very big lie a month after getting engaged. We've had our ups and downs throughout a 4-year relationship. We are both in our 30s, but always find a way to make it work. We had a breakup in December of last year. That resulted in us going no contact for about 10 days before we both couldn't handle the separation and started talking again. It was a little rocky but texted every day, and by end of January we're getting back to normal. I had asked her if she had dated in the brief window we were apart or had anything to disclose and was assured that nothing had happened. Fast forward to August and we're engaged. This morning, I found out she had been seeing someone else until March. I confronted her and she started crying and admitted she had slept with someone in January, and likely February, and had lied to me about it, and that she had also dated 2 other men through April but not slept with them, but who knows. Her justification was that we never officially said we were back together or that I was committed to progressing our relationship. This is true. I told her we could give it a try and I would make an effort, but given how bad December went I didn't want to make a false promise that our being together would result in marriage. We I guess never officially said we were back together, but if we are texting daily saying I love you and seeing each other 3 or so times a week, then I think it speaks for itself. I'm not sure how to proceed. I've been accused by her of inappropriate behavior with women, which I did nothing, to the point I had to turn around and ask her why she was asking this and if she had done something I needed to know about. Well, I have my answer, and she lied right to me on multiple occasions. I feel betrayed, and this was done behind my back, and had I known she did this at the time I would have never stayed. She also admitted she slept with him to get closure with us, but ultimately couldn't let me go and didn't want to tell me because it would have ruined us. Which is absolutely correct and why I deserved to know and asked her about it. If it had happened once while we were no contact I would be upset but could have understood. She lied and kept lying until we are now engaged and she got caught. I feel so stupid for spending so much time together when she was seeing other people at the same time. For what it's worth, I don't think anything else is going on at this point or would in the future, and believe she has now told me everything. Sitting here feeling embarrassed and on the fence about going through with everything, wondering what advice Reddit has. Dating while y'all were broken up. I don't believe in breaks. Isn't the issue, as I'm sure you know. The lying is. I lied because you wouldn't like the truth is not a defense. The choice is ultimately up to you, but I think you'll always have that niggling thought in the back of your head of, is she lying? I don't think she deserves your commitment. You should walk away. According to her, you're not together anyway and the engagement is false. She lied about her relations with others. Get your ring back and find someone else. How could she not think you two was not committed when there was something that progressed to you asking for her hand in marriage? She was seeing 4+ men. What's she going to do after you're married and have an argument, then you make up and weeks later you find out she with her coworker and the Starbucks barista? She going to CTY and say, "Oh, I thought because we had argument you wanted to divorce me and you didn't say you didn't want to divorce me, so." Quote, "Well, I hate this official BS. In this case that's exactly what it is. BS. If you weren't official, she shouldn't have lied. She should have been proud of what she did. She was banging a dude within a few weeks of your breakup for closure. Seriously? 3 guys in 4 months while trying to get back together with you, but not officially. Tell her she got her closure, and to take her lying ass somewhere else. If she had been honest up front I could see moving forward fully informed, but she lied and left it like a landmine for you to step on, and you did. Bang. I feel for ya, bro. Good luck. This is called gaslighting. You were separated for a couple weeks, and even if you didn't have an explicit conversation getting back together, It was absolutely implied that your relationship was the same as before the separation. Did she say, "Okay, but I want to see other people"? No. She is a liar and I wouldn't trust her one bit ever again. No only did she sleep with other people, but now she is busted for lying about it and blaming you for it. I wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole. In my opinion, leave. You asked her to disclose any info and she didn't, and then continued to see the men, until March, unless I have misread. It's going to be really tough, but you need to show yourself respect, know your worth, and get the hell away from her. I'm pretty sure I was still puking my guts out and crying all night at 10 days when my ex and I broke up. If he had called and said let's work on this shit at that point, I would have stupidly just tripped over myself indulging his every whim. My reaction isn't healthy, but she obviously wasn't taking you too seriously if she was dating multiple men after you had reconciled. It's a shit situation, but I can't help but think she had to have known while she was out doing that losing you might be a consequence of her actions, and that was a chance she was willing to take. Commitment means nothing to her. I see different morals here, and when morals don't match, a relationship is doomed. Leave her for good and find someone new. Girlfriend lied to my face. My 30 male, GF, 25 female, of 1 year went out dinner with her friends, girls' night then club. She told me specifically which friends were gonna go. Weird, cuz I didn't ask, or usually do because I trust her, used to 100%. I was at work in a 24-hour shift and she said she'll text when she get back at her apartment. While I was at work at 1 a.m. I saw an Instagram story of one of her friends where there's only the two of them and a bunch of other guys at the table. 4. And later at 5:30 a.m. the same friend uploads a video of herself dancing alone, and in the background my GF dancing uncomfortably close to a guy. She never texted me she was home. The day after, I went to her home to talk and ask her how was her night, and she said all her friends were there and everything was fine. To be honest, I was skeptic, but I choose to believe her, and the next day she cracked down and told me that only one friend, F, went and the other guys were just some friends of her friend she didn't knew. She told me that was the whole deal and nothing else to add, and I thought it was fine, and even though she lied to me I forgave her. But something in my mind screamed, there's something wrong, something she is not telling, so I made some Insta and Facebook research and I intuited that at least she knew one guy before, and for a while. So the next day, yesterday, I sat her down and asked her if she had anything else to tell me, on which she said no. I told her that I knew that she lied about not knowing those guys, and she confessed that she went to a party last week of the guy she was dancing with. And after a little bit of pressure she told me he was her FWB before dating me. She went to the dance club with her old FWB up to 5:30 a.m. at least, and a week prior she saw him at his birthday party, and she lied the whole time about it until I confront her. She told me she was sorry and that she knew how it looked and that she was really scared of losing me, and that's why she didn't tell at first. I maybe have been okay with the club and all of that if only she had been straight with me, but the fact that she lied to my face repeatedly. So I'm asking here, am I overreacting? It's something that sounds reasonable with you guys? I'm truly in love with her, and until a few days ago I thought she loved me too. I told her I didn't want to talk to her at that moment, and she hasn't called or texted at all. She trickled the truth so many times. Who knows what else she hasn't told you about? This is one of those things that you will never feel you got to the bottom of, and honestly with these things the best thing you could do is to take it at face value and make a decision with the information you have. She does not deserve your commitment at all. I was at work in a 24-hour shift. She went to the dance club with her old FWB up to 5:30 a.m. at least. This is not rocket science. So she was not scared enough of losing you not to do these things. She was just scared enough of losing you not to tell you that she did them. Does that sum it up? Red flags. She was really scared of losing me, and that's why she didn't tell at first. How does that make any sense? It was clearly planned. It's not like she ran into him there and didn't want to tell you. If she was worried about losing you, she wouldn't have done it in the first place. So she planned this out and repeatedly lied to you. She is not trustworthy. How can there be a relationship without trust? Do you want to worry about where she is when you are working? Run, do not walk. She is cheating on you and will continue to if you let this slide. It sucks, but you saw her true colors and that doesn't change. 35M. My fiance of 3 years, 30F. Used to work as an escort. I'm tempted to call off the wedding. My fiance, Diana, and I have been dating for 2 years and engaged for 8 months. Our wedding is coming up in February. Diana is a beautiful woman both inside and out. She has a very lively personality and is definitely the most attractive woman I have dated. She is quite outgoing and actually asked me out. Our relationship has been going very well so far. We share a lot of the same hobbies. We're both into skiing, enjoy traveling, and trying new restaurants. Recently, however, I received multiple disturbing mails from an anonymous account. They were screenshots from an escort agency's website and showed that Diana used to work for them. Her face was blurred out, but I could still tell. They are 8–9 years old, and it's legal in my country, but I was still devastated when I saw these pictures. At first I didn't believe it, but when I confronted her she confirmed it. She told me that from 2022 she worked as an escort before quitting. She was with some high-end agency and slept with 2–3 men a week and made a lot of money. After 2 years, she stopped because she started to hate the work. I was kind of shocked. I didn't really know what to say. I do not believe Diana should be shamed or anything for her past career. I just feel that I should have been made aware. I'm upset for multiple reasons. The first is that she lied by omission to me. I would not have pursued a relationship if I was aware of her past career. Secondly, we waited until we were serious to have sex. This gave me the false impression she viewed intimacy a certain way. Now I just feel like an idiot. Lastly, I own several businesses in the area, many with partners. I know that a few have pretty conservative morals when it comes to sexuality. I would have wanted to know about her past career ahead of time so that I could have thought how to deal with a potential fallout. I'm very tempted to break our engagement and call off the wedding over what I feel was a betrayal. Is this something that could be potentially resolved? Also, if I break it off, how should I tell her, and should I inform her of the screenshots? Is this due to people reading similar stories and coming public about their own, or is it a spree of made-up stories about this subject? I've seen an abnormally high amount of stories of past escorts as of late. Her past is something that can't change. Whether you accept it as it is or move on. In my opinion, if her past and the fact that she hid it from you makes you uncomfortable, you have every right to call off the wedding and move on to someone new. You deserve to be with someone who makes you feel comfortable, and she deserves to be with someone who accepts her for who she is. All the reasons that you stated make sense for why you don't want to marry her. It's something that can potentially be resolved, but it all boils down to if you can accept that part of her past or not. If not, move on. Bro, if you're thinking about leaving over this, just do it. It won't get any easier. You're allowed to leave a relationship for any reason you want. Could it be resolved? Yeah, maybe. How should you tell her? Directly and honestly. As far as informing her of the screenshots. You already confronted her, right? Why do you need to tell her about the screenshots? I wonder who it is that sent you the screenshots in the first place. Obviously it's someone you know since they have your email address. Why are there significant othermony? My significant other did sex work and now I'm having a crisis. Posts in just the last 2 weeks? My own take is a bit different from the others. She seems to make you happy. That is worth a lot. You seem to have good chemistry. I'm not taking away from the fact that she lied by omission. Your emotions are valid. Ultimately, it's your decision, your choice. But you may be throwing away something really beautiful. Is there a chance you can forgive her, and let go of the past to embrace a happy present and future with her? Honestly, that is a very, very big thing to lie about. You need to reconsider and take a step back. Maybe don't call off the wedding just yet, but really think about whether or not you're the kind of person who can now go and live a full life with a woman who's had sex with upwards of 250 people without feeling ways about it.